Alright, so this is going to be my review of Marceline and the Scream Queens. And this is another book I got at MegaCon. Unlike the rest of them that were all trades, this was actually one I got in a 6-issue miniseries. Boom Studios actually had a booth at MegaCon, so I got all the issues. I didn't get the variant covers. I didn't get any of the variant covers because it was just $4 for regular issues, and it was $10 each for the variants. So that would have been like $60, and I didn't have enough money for that. So I just went with the regular issues and just bought this. And this is pretty cool. This isn't like Adventure Time Origins Marceline, as cool as most people would think that would be. But no, what it is pretty much Marceline has brought together a punk rock band, and they want to do a tour around the land of Ooh, and Bubblegum and BMO and Tree Trunks go with her, and her team, and her band. Now it's interesting to see that this band, let me talk about the band real quick. The band consists of Kalia, I think that's her name. She's also a vampire like Marceline. She's the band's guitarist, as well as she writes this, she helps Marceline co-write some of the songs. Bongo, who's a ghost, and he's pretty much the jokester of the group. And then we got the character Guy, who you think is a werewolf, then he's a werefish, and then he reveals to Bubblegum that he's a shapeshifter. He's, even he can't remember what he really looks like anymore. He can shapeshift into different animals and people. He just can't remember what he is anymore. So, and he's also the band's keyboardist. But anyway, the band starts off in the Candy Kingdom, and Marceline, you know, mocks Bubblegum for not being rock-oriented. And Bubblegum decides, you know what, I'll go with you and be the band's manager. So from then on, it, you know, goes into a road trip, and we find out really quick that Marceline's kind of psyching herself out. We see that she's pretty much, every time they do a gig, she goes off the rails saying, you know, we didn't do our best, what the hell was wrong with us, and what she doesn't realize is, everyone loves her. Everyone loves her, and she thinks that she's being totally hated by this one guy, by a person who's been writing the magazines. And that really, you know, adds to the story that it kind of ends, it really kind of ends abruptly, and it has like a really Disney-esque ending that everyone's okay with it. But we find out that Marceline is her own worst enemy in this mini-series, and as she continues to rock out, she becomes more volatile, she becomes more angry. She's almost like she becomes pretty much a diva, pretty much. And Bubblegum's trying to contain the situation, and it is interesting. It is really interesting to see that contrast between her and Marceline. It's really cool to see just those two hang out together. They didn't really imply anything between Marceline and Bubblegum. I think there are some moments where you do think that Marceline and Bubblegum have a little thing in between them, as the show once implied, but it's not really, you know, explored further in here, which is something I was actually kind of looking for, because I do like the idea of Bubblegum and Marceline together. So I was actually kind of hoping for that to happen. Not like be like, oh, they're lesbians and that's going to be the focus of the 6 issues. It's going to be Bubblegum coming out of the closet as well. No, that's not what I was looking for. I would have liked to see something like that a little explored, but I'm glad that wasn't the main focus point. Still, if that makes any sense. Anywho, further on down the road, they go to different places like the ocean, the Nightosphere, and we see Marceline's father in here, and he's actually trying to be that dad he's really supportive of her, and he does want to, like, he asked them to do an acoustic set in the Nightosphere, and it's actually pretty cool. The thing I have with this is that some of the things they set up and forget. Like, they meet this guy who's a record producer who looks like a Ooh version of Keith Richards, and Marceline bites his lip and drains all the red out of it. Then that's the end of the 2nd issue. The 3rd issue, it just picks up like, oh, we shouldn't have done that, and it doesn't really deal with the ramifications of that. It's just like this comic is very forgetful of itself sometimes, and that's what kind of hurts it. But still, the humor in here is pretty good at points. There are some just really fun moments, and like I said, there are all the backstories, like there's extra stories in here. My personal favorite is the one where Peppermint Butler and Cinnamon Bun are working as you know, they're working at the ticket booth, and they discover that someone's been giving tickets fake tickets, which are just drawn pieces of paper on them to people. And so it's pretty much Cinnamon Bun and Peppermint Butler going out to find this guy, and it turns out it's the Ice King who's jealous at them, and he's jealous that he wasn't invited to be part of the band, and he's trying to ruin Marceline's reputation through giving all these false tickets. So Peppermint Butler throws him out of a window. No, really, Peppermint Butler throws him out of a fucking window, and it's hilarious. He also tries to kill Gunther. He actually, someone hits... Gunther gets hit with a snowball by Ice King off screen. He's like, drat, I couldn't finish him. I mean, he couldn't tell us anything he knew. He really corrects himself. And it's really cool to see him... Because he does have... It's nice to see Peppermint Butler get some stuff, because he is a very mysterious character. He's almost like the Walter from Hellsing of Adventure Time at some points. So... it was cool to see him play off Cinnamon Bun, who's a total... idiot. Let's not beat around the bush here. Another one is where Marceline is trying to find some red to drink in this forest of nothing but blue, and Bubblegum creates this robot who paints everything red. And for some reason, when the robot started speaking, all I could think was David Tennant's voice for the robot. Not because he had this British accent, but it just felt like it fit, and he already did a robot before in Star Wars, so it just kind of, I don't know. It just happened. The other backstory, another cool one, was when... This one focused on Jake and Lady Rainicorn, where Jake and Lady Rainicorn are having communication problems. They're trying to shop for shoes, and a shoe wizard pops up and curses Lady Rainicorn to only sing. She can only do musical sounds, and Jake can't understand her, and she leaves him. And it pretty much falls into Jake trying to communicate with Lady Rainicorn and, show that he still loves her. So it does have a sweet ending, and it is funny with Finn's idea to find the shoe wizard. But it is a very sweet moment between Jake and Rainicorn. I do love that one. But I think if you were to ask me my favorite of all the backstory, the little mini-stories, it would definitely be the Cinnamon Bun and Peppermint Butler one. Because that one... that one's just cool. Because the tickets, they say, admit one, I guess. And it's just Ice King being stupid. It's hilarious. There's also a really good one with Lemon Grab. There's also a really cool backstory with Lemon Grab. And what happens is that Lemon Grab makes his own metal band with Muscle Princess Ash, Marceline's ex-boyfriend, and one other character from the Candy Kingdom. I can't remember his name, but he played bass. And the band's name is Unacceptable! Oh, that was terrible. But it was pretty cool. He has his own heavy metal band. Secretly, Lemon Grab has his own heavy metal band, and I thought that was hilarious. But the story itself, like I said, it does get forgetful of its plot lines here and there, and I felt like everything wrapped up a little too quickly, even for a 6-issue mini. I feel like they could have done something longer if they didn't have the backup stories as well. But having said all that, this is good. If you're a major Adventure Time fan, this is definitely a pickup. And also, one more thing. Yes, I know the second volume of Adventure Time is out, but here's the thing. I'm kind of strapped for money here now and then, so getting it might... I do intend to get the second volume of Adventure Time, as well as the 6-issue Fiona and Cake miniseries. I do want to get those. But again, it's the matter of money, so... For those who are wondering, yeah, I will get those, just please stop asking me, because, yeah, I will get those in the future. But for what it's worth, Marceline the Scream Queens, if you're a major Adventure Time fan, if you're a fan of Marceline, or anything like that, and just want to see the Land of Ooo explored without, Finn and Jake in it as the main focus, and focus on Marceline, yeah, I'd say check this out.